Hey guys, welcome back to Unfiltered America Media. It's good to have you here. Caroline here. Let's get into it. So we're diving into a developing story today because Somalia just declared an economic crisis after the U.S. aid cuts. Somalia's freaking out, claiming they're in full economic crisis mode after the U.S. slashed aid. And it turns out tons of foreign aid was flowing to Somalia. Look at that. Now, this could have fraud written all over it. Probably does somewhere. So we're going to break it all down in this video and explain what this could mean going forward. Let's get into it.
International aid organizations have disputed that. They've detailed how many lives have been lost. Also, Nick Kristof of the New York Times had an extensive piece in the New York Times on Sunday, firsthand reporting on the deaths being caused by the cuts in aid. And he went on to say this. I want to show a tweet he put up. He said, I also obtained an internal Trump administration memo stating that the cost of shutting down USAID is $6.4 billion over 2 years. That sum could save more than 1 million children's lives. Instead, it is being spent to shut down programs that saves lives. How do you account for that? How do you respond?
Well, that wasn't a memo. That was somebody who wrote an email giving their opinion internally. That is not an official document. That's someone who didn't agree with our decision. This is not about cutting aid. We're going to do aid.
It does cost money to shut down AID, doesn't it? That's a fact.
No, we didn't shut it down. We moved, well, a couple things. We shut down AID because it was a dysfunctional organization. We moved it under the State Department. Number two, we are going to do more foreign aid than any country in the world. We're going to do more than anyone in the world, again, this year. But we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do it holistically. We're going to do it as part of an integrated foreign policy. We are not going to fund an NGO industrial complex that built itself up, that was taking a substantial percentage of the money and not going directly to the recipients. It was going to these organizations that had multi-billion-dollar projects and budgets. We're not going to continue to do it that way. We are going to provide aid. We're providing aid now. We just rolled out our new initiative on health. It's going to be much more successful and much more effective. We're going to enter into direct compacts with the countries. We're going to empower our embassies and our ambassadors to direct which projects we fund and how much money countries are going to be receiving. So we are restructuring the way we do aid. It's going to be far more effective, and it's going to be integrated into our holistic foreign policy.
That's all in the future. But are you standing by that comment? You're saying that no one has died?
No, it's happening now. That's not in the future.
No one has died because of the aid cuts? Are all those aid organizations lying?
That's ridiculous. Well, first of all, then they died because England didn't give enough money, or Canada didn't give more, or China did. Let's blame the other countries that don't do any foreign aid. How about China? I mean, China's the second largest economy in the world. They don't give money to these projects.
So you're no longer disputing that the aid cuts have cost people's lives. You're no longer disputing that.
It didn't. I think anybody who tells you that somehow it's the United States, if we cut $1, somehow we're responsible for some horrific thing that's going on in the world is just not true. Beyond that, I would say that in some of these places
that they cite,
not going
the reason why the aid didn't get there,
someone's going to die. One of the reasons why some of these places didn't get the aid is not because we cut the aid. It's because there's a war going on and the aid never got to the people. So in Sudan, for example, it's not just a humanitarian catastrophe, it's a war zone. Okay, the aid is stolen, the aid is impeded. In fact, they use aid as a tool against the people, and so blocking aid is a tool and an arm of war. So in some of these places, the reason why the aid isn't getting there is it can't be distributed. Look at Haiti. One of the reasons why aid can't be distributed in Haiti is you can send all the aid in the world you want. It gets hijacked and stolen by criminal gangs that control the country.
Marco Rubio went off after George Stephanopoulos got into it with him over the U.S. aid cuts. Rubio defended the Trump administration's work coordinating with Doge and Elon Musk to find ways to cut these fraudulent aid programs. For example, Somalia was getting tons of foreign aid from the United States, and almost none of it actually reached the people it was supposed to help. In most cases, it was fraudulently taken at the government level or stolen by thieves, gang members, or other sketchy entities in Somalia. And that's exactly why the Trump administration's decision to make these U.S. aid cuts is justified. Marco Rubio did an excellent job explaining why. Rubio didn't hold back, and it's great that he exposed the corruption going on with USAID. In his fiery exchange with George Stephanopoulos, he broke down the reality for years. Billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars have been funneled through USAID programs with little to no accountability. The media loves to frame foreign aid as some moral obligation, but what's truly immoral is allowing hard-earned American taxpayer money to disappear into corrupt systems overseas while U.S. communities continue to struggle. Rubio backed the Trump administration's bold move to reevaluate and slash wasteful USAID funding, especially in nations like Somalia. Remember when Trump talked about this in his address to Congress? He was like, Alapoco, I'm making up a name. But the point is, it was some country over in Africa somewhere, and he's like, no one's even heard of this place, and we're funding transgender mice studies. What? That kind of crazy stuff? That's what gets cut, that needs to be cut. It's showing extreme levels of fraud and theft. Rubio pointed out that it's not anti-humanitarian to demand results. That makes total sense. If you're going to give an addict money, do you really think if it's a serious addict, they're going to use it for food or shelter? No, they might try to get drugs. So you actually want to see results. You might have conditions like, hey, I'll give you this, but I want to see this happen. It's not about greed or control. You're trying to make sure the money is actually being used for what you intended to help people. It's common sense when distributing foreign aid, when only pennies on the dollar actually reach starving families and the rest just disappears into the hands of corrupt officials or criminals. That's a problem. That's not aid. You're giving bad guys money. You're funding corruption, wars, and crime. You're giving aid to people who don't need it but love taking it. It doesn't matter how badly Somalia wants to declare an emergency over their economy and healthcare. It doesn't change the fact that money shouldn't be going to criminals. It should be going to the very specific good cause it was designed for, not corrupt politicians, not drug lords. Rubio also defended Trump's partnerships with private sector innovators like Tesla, Elon Musk, and Doge. Now, I know Steve Bannon's like, it's a joke, he didn't get anything done, he lied, there was a fist fight with Scott Bessent. Yeah, that's kind of ugly. But listen, the point is, Elon brought optics and eyeballs and attention to money being spent wrongly. Regardless of whether you think it was a waste of time, the result is more people are aware of where our tax dollars are going. Before, people just assumed the government uses our tax dollars, that's how it is, probably for something dumb. Now people are like, wait, you spent what? On transgender puppets in Afghanistan and their feeling seminar? How is that? This crazy thing I literally just made up is also super real in that there are examples exactly like that. You can search, you can dig, and you'll find it. I've seen it myself reading reports going, huh? What? Why is this money going to that? Elon brought a lot of eyeballs and attention to it. For that reason alone, I say thank you, Elon. These collaborations aim to use advanced tech and data tracking to make sure every dollar of foreign aid is traceable. Rubio emphasized this isn't isolationism, it's common sense reform, and it doesn't exclusively apply to Somalia, it applies to all countries that need support. America isn't turning its back on the world, it's refusing to be taken advantage of. Before, it was just money here, you want money, take money. Hopefully something good comes out of it. That's a problem.
Well, they're the ones to blame for whatever happening there, not us who provided more aid than anybody else.
Let me just try
Haiti,
one more time.
Africa,
Are you standing
by every part of the world?
Are you standing by your contention that no one has died
because the United States has cut aid? No. People have died because gangs steal the aid. People have died because the distributors of aid have not done well. People have died because other countries haven't stepped up. But the United States has saved more lives and continues to save more lives than any other country in the world. And we're going to continue to do it, but we're going to do it the right way and in a responsible way. We're not going to continue to pour billions of dollars out the door of American taxpayer funds for programs that don't work and in some cases were flat out corrupt.
Mr. Secretary, thanks.
So here's the thing. Marco Rubio's fiery defense of Trump's foreign aid cuts, it's not just about one policy tweak. Nope. It's a bigger moment, a push for accountability and transparency that Washington hasn't exactly been famous for. For decades, the DC mindset has been this: throw money at a problem overseas, call it compassion, and walk away. But let's be honest, compassion without results isn't compassion at all. In fact, it can be dangerous. Take Somalia, for instance. Billions in U.S. aid have poured into a system riddled with corruption, terrorism, and zero oversight. So yeah, Rubio's saying, wait a minute, maybe sending free money to unstable governments, Cuba, Gaza, wherever, isn't kindness, it's chaos. And no, that's not cruelty. Wanting accountability for taxpayer dollars is actually the responsible thing to do. Because when you hand out cash with no strings attached, you might just be funding the very instability you're trying to fix. Rubio made one key point. This administration isn't against helping people, it's against being scammed. Trump's team wants reform, deep reform, so humanitarian aid actually works. That means modernizing how we track funds, cutting waste, and making sure every dollar lands where it's supposed to. In a world full of financial deception and global opportunists, that's not heartless, that's leadership. Rubio's exchange with Stephanopoulos wasn't just a defense of Trump's policies. It was a call for a new era of American responsibility. Think about it this way. If you've got a health issue, you don't just throw money at random online coaches and hope it works. You go see a doctor. You want results, you want accountability. Same logic applies here. That's not cruelty. That's common sense. Anyway, that's my take. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. That's my take. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. I do read them all. Thank you so much for watching Unfiltered America Media. I'm Caroline, your host. Stay strong, stay free, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.